Good Sunday morning, everybody. Matt M. Roy back once again. Let me get a little better adjustment here. There we go. Hope everybody is doing well on this very cold and very, very snowy Sunday morning. Most of you guys by now have seen the live stream I did yesterday talking about Winter Storm Ezekiel, which is bearing down on us as we speak. This morning started really, really very interesting, and I'll tell you a quick little story. We had our Thanksgiving yesterday. Very, very fun. If you want to see some pictures, you can go to my Facebook page and check that out. Link is below in the description area. The whole family was here. Aunt Karen, Uncle Chris, Uncle Kevin, Aunt Lisa, pretty much everybody was here except for my parents. My Aunt Karen was here since Thursday, and her plan was to go home this morning because she has a concert rehearsal tonight. Well, she left here this morning, I would say around maybe 8:30-ish, and I got a call from her about an hour ago, so it was about 10:30. So we're talking about a 2-hour span. And come to find out, she got stuck about a quarter of the way home, and she's actually in a motel right now. So Aunt Karen, I'm so glad that you were smart enough to go stay off the roads. And she's cozy in that motel. She actually told me on the way back, the reason she pulled off is we are having an ice storm right now. We're having it here in Greene, and it's all up the western New York coast right now. Though I think at this moment it has just started to turn to snow. But she said that there were a lot of accidents, basically up 17 is the way she goes home from here because she lives up towards Hornell. And to get from Greene or the Binghamton area up towards that area, you have to pretty much take Interstate 17. And they always do a good job keeping it clear. But over the last, I would say, hour or two, we had about an inch of ice. I actually went out, believe it or not, about a half an hour ago to clear the windows on the Yukon. And the ice was so thick that I couldn't even scrape it off. I got most of it off the side windows and the rear window, but the front window, the actual windshield, I scraped, and I just couldn't do it. I was afraid of breaking the windshield. So unfortunately, what's going to happen is snow is going to start falling. It's going to cover the ice that's on that windshield already, and it's going to make it very hard to clean off. But you know what? I have no plans on going anywhere. If I do have to go somewhere, I'm just going to walk. Luckily, we have a Dollar General in town. We have the variety store, which is, the place that I'm working at. It's not even a quarter of a mile from here. So luckily, we're nice, warm, and toasty. I have the heater that I got from Walmart on Black Friday going over there. You guys can kind of see it right there. Right there. I love that thing. If you guys have a Walmart near you and you're in need of a heater, I would highly recommend that. For $50, it's an infrared heater. It has 2 settings on there. It has the 1,000 watt and the 1,500 watt setting on that. So no matter what your electrical situation is, it should be able to handle it. Whatever kind of circuit you have, if you have fuses like we have here, circuit breakers, 10 amp, 15 amp, 30 amp service, you should be able to use that. And even at the 1,000 watt setting, it does a great job heating this room. And this is a decent sized room. This room is about 15 by 15. So it'll do a good job in I would say a small to medium size room. Chepole, hey Matt, long time for me. Yes, it has. I don't think you've been to one of these live streams recently. I appreciate it. Stephen Barber says hi. Victor De La Fuente, hey Matt, hopefully you stay safe and warm from the storm. That is the plan. We have everything we need here. I don't have to work until tomorrow. And the good news with that is we are all going to be working at the variety store here, not the one in Afton. So all I have to do is walk over there. I have boots that I bought years ago in Canada. Really, really big, thick boots, and that's what I plan on doing. So I'm going to be staying safe and trying to stay warm. Still going to try to get my steps in today. Weight wise, I'm pretty sure I've gained a few pounds, just because, let's face it, during the holidays, you eat more. Even when you're doing a lifestyle change, diet, whatever you want to call it, the holidays are the worst time of the year for everybody. Very few people I know actually lose weight during the holidays. I did last year, but this year I think it's going to be very hard, though I'm transforming a lot of it into muscle, doing the type of warehouse work that I have to do. So we got 10 people here. Let me see if I can pull up without disrupting this live stream too much. You guys know what it's like with this laptop. Incidentally, I was trying to get a better desktop, but for here, because I'm going to be staying here longer than I thought, but the funds will not allow me to do that, unfortunately. So I'll have to just make do with this laptop. Okay, so I'm pulling up the weather here for Green and winter storm warning. Here we go. This is central and south. What is this? Winter storm warning in south central New York. So this is affecting Oneonta, Madison, Delaware, I can't even pronounce that. Otsego and Shenango counties. We are actually in the Shenango County area. I like the way they do this. They do what, where, when, and impact. So what? Heavy snow and mixed precipitation expected. Total snow accumulations of 12 to 16 inches. And that is here. With locally heavier accumulations up to 20 inches expected, probably more in the mountainous areas. As I've stated before, here right in the village of Green, we usually get spared the brunt of the storms. Oh, man, Chet Boulay, $10 super chat. Thank you so much. She says, hey, Matt, since it's been a while, I wanted to give you a holiday super chat. Best of luck back in New York. We miss you back in Virginia. Well, thank you. I always appreciate that. And if I get enough of these super chats, next YouTube paycheck, I might be able to go ahead and spring for a slightly faster system. But you know what? I have some really nice computers at home, and I thought the laptop would do well, and it has. I mean, I really can't fault it. It's a 3rd gen i5. So I think this will be good enough until I get back home. Oh, heater just turned off. Okay, so where were we here? When? Snow will overspread the area from the southwest by noon. The snow could become heavy at times this afternoon. The snow will mix with sleet and freezing rain at times, sunset and into the evening. See, that's the real dangerous part. When you have sleet and freezing rain and then you have snow on top of it, that's when you have really, really bad driving conditions because you can't see that ice underneath. And I don't care what everybody says, even if it's snow covered, there are times that your tires are going to make contact with that ice. And that's when you get a lot of accidents. My aunt that was driving up to the Hornell area said that there were so many accidents on the road, the emergency services couldn't even keep up with them. So if at all possible, please stay off the road today. Snow developing late this evening becomes heavy at times overnight into the day on Monday. The snow tapers off Monday afternoon and evening. So once again, the snow is going to be ending probably sometime midday Monday, though they did say for here it could go into Tuesday as well. So I don't know. I think we may be getting the worst early storm that we've had here in years, according to what my uncle says. Impacts. Travel could be very difficult to impossible, and I'm going to lean more towards the impossible range there. The hazardous conditions will impact holiday travel this afternoon as well as Monday morning and evening. Now, that's something that you have to consider. A lot of people are traveling home from the holiday, the Thanksgiving holiday festivities, or wherever they were visiting. So that is probably going to be a no-go. So most people are going to have to stay put. Maybe you're going to have to put off work on Monday. Maybe it's really, really bad right now. And this is something that needs to be said. It has to be said every year because there are people out there that just totally forget it. But even if you have four-wheel drive and or all-wheel drive, that does not mean you are good to go, especially on ice. Four-wheel drive and or all-wheel drive is good for snow. It'll help you grip more when it snows out. But when it comes to ice, it's almost as bad and sometimes even worse than vehicles that have two-wheel drive, because when you're on ice, there is no friction coefficient there. So you are going to be sliding all over the place. You could have eight-wheel drive like some of the Army vehicles have, and it still really wouldn't matter. Chepoulet asks, hey, Matt, how is the weather maintenance up there in Green? I assume it must be lots better than us in Southeast Virginia. Yes, it is. Where we are in Virginia, we maybe have one or two plow trucks, and I think maybe one or two salt and sand trucks for the whole area. Here, they have a fleet of them, and that's just for the village of Green. What they do here is very similar to what they do in Virginia. Right before a storm, there is a truck. It looks like a salt truck that comes out, but it's not. What they actually do is they spray a brine, which is like a chemical, on the roads, and it coats the roads, and that helps prevent ice from building up and sticking. Now, does it mean that you're not going to get ice buildup? No. When you have ice coming down inches in an hour, yeah, it's still going to build up, but it does help. And when the temperatures start to warm up past freezing, it'll actually help the ice melt quicker. But we're going to have the worst of it. In other words, we're having the ice built up over that, and then we're going to have the snow on top. And what winds up happening is the snow gets compacted down on top of that ice, and basically the snow turns into the ice, and you just have sheets of ice all over the road. I've seen it year after year. And that's why I say, if you have to travel today, be super, super careful. And if you don't, stay indoors. Stephen Barber says, please be safe out there. You know, one thing, I'm still trying to get used to this Yeti microphone, and I think I'm going to try to get a like a windscreen on it, like one of those little poofy covers for it, because I noticed that I get a lot of feedback, and I think that's what it is. So I'm going to try to get one of those. If anybody knows where I can get one at a good price for this microphone, please leave it in the comments. Chepoulet, it turns into a sort of blackish slush on the road. Very dangerous. Yeah, that's actually called black ice. I know I've talked about this before as well, but that is just as dangerous, if not, actually, it's more dangerous than regular ice, because regular ice you can spot. Black ice kind of melds in with the blacktop, and you can't see it at all. So you could be driving along thinking you're fine, hit a patch of black ice, and go right into the ditch. I mean, it happens all the time. Even up here, though, I will say people in this area are much better at driving in snow. So this is what I'm going to tell you that I've learned from driving in snow: things you want to do and things you don't want to do. We'll start with things you want to do. You want to avoid using your brakes as much as possible. If you don't have to use them at all, that's great. If you're in a hilly area, instead of using your brakes, downshift. You can do that with an automatic just as easily as you can with a manual. You just shift into third, second, and then first. And then once you get into first, you may be going 10 or 15 miles an hour, and then lightly apply the brakes. Number two, you also want to keep a very large distance between you and the car in front of you. I'd say behind, but that's really the job of the person behind you. Whereas it doesn't matter, whatever you would normally leave, double or triple that, and that's what you need to do when it's snowing out. Another thing is warmth. if you were to break down in this kind of weather, there are certain things that you need to have in your vehicle. I always keep in my vehicle jump pack. So if my battery dies, I can hook it up and restart my car. You want to have tools with you. Now, you don't have to have a lot of tools, but a wrench set, a screwdriver, maybe a flashlight, and some type of cutting tool is the bare minimum. But I always recommend having a toolkit in the back of your car. Always, always a good idea. Number 3, food and water. So basically, you want to be able to, if you were to break down somewhere, you want to be able to eat something and keep your energy up. And then number 4, blankets, coats, anything that you can cover yourself with. Again, if you were to break down, you could stay in your vehicle. Even if you were to run out of gas, you could layer yourself up and hopefully it would be enough to keep you warm until help arrives. So where are we now? What we do things and hold on, I'm losing my train of thought here. So things you want to do and things you don't want to do. Follow too closely, drive too fast, and let's see, what was the third one? There was something else. I don't know. It'll come to me. But anyway, let's go back to the chat window here. Danny K says, hello, Matt. Higher Gun says, good morning. And then Danny K again says, I even keep Mr. Buddy Heater in my truck. Another very good option. I know that Nomadic Fanatic has a couple of those, and they're really good. They run on propane, and you can keep them in there. Now, one thing you want to do with those buddy heaters, it is a good idea to start them outside. So if you broke down, you want to light that heater outside and let it kind of heat up for about 5 minutes and then bring it inside the car. Not as important if you're in like an RV because there's more of an area, but because of the carbon monoxide that it gives off, and a car has a very small enclosed area, make sure you light those outside and then bring them in. Pretty much the same process as you would with a kerosene heater. Wow, 18 watchers. And please make sure you click that like button. Again, if you like these videos, help me out there. That really does help me out. I appreciate it. Chet Boulay, I like to keep a can of gas with me in the situations with ice storms, just in case you run out and need to get to the station. Kitty litter too, if you hit snow and need traction. Both very, very good options. Kitty litter it basically works because it gives you a friction point. You can put that down and you'll be able to have a little bit of friction to move yourself out of a problem. Like if you get caught on ice, you can put it under your tires and maybe push yourself a little bit and then have enough to go ahead and get that friction you need to move off the ice. And what was the other thing there? The can of gas is important, but even more important is right before a storm, you want to go ahead and bring your vehicle and just fill it up with gas. That's something that we always do. All right. So let me know what you guys are doing now to prepare for this storm. Now, if you're in this area, you should have already prepared. I kid you not. When I went to Dollar General yesterday, I thought people were there to get the 50% off Thanksgiving decorations and merchandise, but the majority of people were there buying water, bread, dried food items just in case we lose power. And there is a possibility, especially with this ice storm. As a matter of fact, I'm actually surprised the lights haven't even flickered yet. So if you guys lose me here, you'll know why. But I digress on that point. 19. Wow. Okay. That clock is not working very well for some reason. It keeps flinching back and forth. Yeah. So, I mean, that is really all I wanted to do. And the reason I did this live stream was twofold: to get that information out there. And number two, because there really isn't too much else to do here today, especially with the weather the way it is. I hope everybody is staying safe out there. We'll go a few more minutes. If anybody has any comments or wants to ask me something, doesn't specifically have to be about the current weather situation. Danny K, I got my Samsung S10 Plus and I'm loving it. Oh, man, that's awesome. I haven't even seen one yet. I'm still running off the S9 Plus. Chet Boulay, Matt, what was your favorite dish from yesterday at the Thanksgiving feast? Hands down, the green bean casserole. I love it. I actually should have grabbed some, but everybody else got to it first. Probably number 2, my uncle made these fresh Brussels sprouts that he cooked in bacon and bacon fat, and that was heavenly. I'll have to try that. I never even thought about doing it that way. My uncle was a chef for a while. That's how he, I guess, put himself through school, and he really got some good recipes from that period of his life. All right, everybody, I am going to end the live stream here because I want to get downstairs. It's getting on lunchtime. Believe it or not, I'm actually still kind of hungry. When the weather's this cold outside, you burn calories pretty quickly. So you need to go ahead and keep your calorie intake up. Just don't overdo it. Remember, there is kind of a sweet spot there. All right, everybody. Thank you for coming to this live stream. Please continue to like and subscribe. Hopefully everybody's staying safe out there. And as always, have a blessed day, everybody.